Okay, so this is the doll that I bought, just the doll head. That was the eBay listing, and then here she is. I already started cutting some of her hair because when you do a reroot, you gotta really cut everything off. And here she is. I was trying to figure out what type of Barbie she is. Her base makeup looks beautiful. That's why I got her. But she needed an eyelash reroot, and she needed a full head reroot. But her makeup, I didn't touch anything on her face. I left her a natural. Looking by this little hair that comes down here, and looking at the back where it kind of swoops, I think she is a 1968 talking doll. I think she looked like this back when she was new, but now she looks like this. So she needed a makeover. Uh, and it was really weird how it was rooted here. Like she kind of had bangs, but they were kind of like twisted and strange at the top there. That little top knot right there. It was very difficult to deal with that, as you will see. So I just had to rip out all the hair, I cut it super short, and I just had to like get the hair out so that I can put some good new hair in. But overall, like really good condition. This head was in really good condition. So let's see how she turns out. All right, so here she is. I got most of the hair out, but I'm having a really hard time plucking this part out. It was very hard. I mean, there was just so much hair smashed into all these tiny holes. I was afraid I was going to damage the head because I used this hook loop to kind of scrape the hair out and pull it out. Uh, and yeah, it was a challenge. Okay, there she is again. Washed her face off, and I did manage to get that hair out. Using hot water helped loosen things up. Helps the vinyl be more malleable, so you can really like pull and yank out things with minimal damage. So always heat up your doll heads with some nice warm water. And so you can see there was just a lot of hair smashed in that part there. And I tried to use all the existing holes that she already had, all the existing plugs. And I also kept the color, the brown scalp color, the same. So, but I wasn't really sure how I was going to do the hair because I wasn't 100% sure what Barbie it was until recently. So here is how I rerooted her eyelashes. See, she had like no eyelashes. She has none. I pulled them out. Well, she had none. And I took the tiniest little bit of hair, just like maybe 6, maybe 8 strands of hair, and I knotted them at the end. You can also use this technique to do a full head reroot, and I did do part of her head with knots, but you would use a bit more hair than like 8 strands when you're doing their head like this. But I found it to be extremely tedious to do a whole head. Uh, you gotta use a needle, and your needle has to be long enough to fit through the eye and out the bottom neck hole. So this one is a little short, but when I'm doing eyelashes, I want to use the smallest needle I can because it's such a small hole. You know, you don't. It's right on their head. Whereas when you do the hair, you can use a much bigger needle for your rerooting. But when it comes to eyelashes, I like to use a small needle or the thinnest needle I can find. And crochet needles are the best because they have. Oh, what am I doing here? So the crochet needles have the best uh, hole, like where it's bigger. See right here? And so I can fit more hair, like this little strand of hair here, easy when I use a crochet needle. So that's just a little tip there. You want to use a crochet needle. And less is best when it comes to eyelashes, but when it comes to hair, you're going to do a bit more plugs when you tie them. I think I've done a video on that. So this is the weird part. You're going to take the loop part of the needle. So you're putting it in backwards, basically, reverse. You're going to find the existing holes that you can see, and you can kind of see them, but they're definitely hidden, so sometimes you might need to use a microscope, not microscope, a magnifying glass. But you take the loop side and find a hole, and then you smash it through her eye. So I found a hole, and then I'm just gonna push it. I use pliers to get better grip on the needle itself. And I don't know what's taking me so long. Oh, her face is smushing. Oh, no, wait. Didn't want to go in. Reposition. No, I didn't find a good hole. So another thing you can do is you can actually take the needle part and make a hole. But I just, yeah, see, pliers, smash, boom, popped right through. It looks really gruesome, but this is what you got to do if you want beautiful eyelashes. Pain is beauty, right? That's ridiculous. But yeah, so that's what you want. And then with this needle being kind of shorter than, but it poked through enough. So you wanted to poke through just enough out of the neck where you can stick your hair through the eye hole there. See, right there. That's all you need. You just need to stick through that much. And then you take your hair strand. Wetting it is key. You have to get the strands of hair wet so that you can easily thread the needle with the strands. I also cut the end of the strand of hair so that all the hairs are even, because if you don't, see, like that is longer than the other one, so you got to snip it down, and now you have a nice blunt, even plug of hair. And then you can line it up right there. There's your eye hole. And then you're going to just stick that right through the eye hole. It can be a little tricky sometimes. That's why you got to use just the right amount of hair. And patience, patience, patience. Doing eyelashes is really easy. But doing a whole head of hair like this, because this is definitely a rerooting technique you can use, it just takes forever. And it's really annoying. So there we go. I just kind of pull it so it's like halfway. I don't want to pull it all the way through, but like that, leaving a little space at the end. And then you take your pliers and you pull it back through. So I took the pliers and now I'm pulling the needle back up and out of her eye, and boom, there's the eyelash. And then you just take it and you gently pull it, and voila, you have your eyelash plug. And then you cut them later. You can even train them. You can use hot water and curl the eyelashes if you want to get crazy with it, but I didn't do that. I wanted to keep her somewhat original. And having that little knot at the end keeps it in place so you don't have to use glue. This doll here has the original eyelashes, and I'm trying to replicate those original eyelashes. See, she doesn't have that many, but you can still tell she has them. So I was kind of using this doll as my guide for this one. And they turned out pretty good. All right, so here she is. I trimmed down one side just to make it easier to work with, but I didn't trim it all the way down. And that's how your doll's eyelashes are going to look until you've decided the length you want. You can leave them super long and kind of curl them and train them depending on what kind of style you're going for. But here I'm using an original old doll, and her eyelashes were so perfect. So I'm going off of my old doll's eyelashes to find the right length that I want for this restoration project. And so I use my tiny little scissors and I just cut them down to size. You know, it is really tedious putting eyelashes on dolls, and so that's probably why they stopped doing it. It's a lot easier to just paint the eyelashes on because, you know, somebody's got to go in and cut them to size. I'm not sure if they used a machine to root their eyelashes. I know that they've used machines to root the hair, but I'm not sure if you can do it with eyelashes. So I kind of have a feeling the eyelashes had to be done by hand, even back in the late 60s when they were doing it for Barbie. And there she is. There we have it. She's got her new beautiful eyelashes back. She still's got that black spot on her ear. Gotta deal with that. But overall, I'm pretty happy how she turned out. Let's do a little comparison of how the original eyelashes looked versus my redone eyelashes. So they're original untouched eyelashes. This doll head was in such great condition. She's one of the living dolls. And then her eyelashes. Pretty good comparison. I think it turned out really well. Better than my previous reroot eyelashes have gone. I always would use too much hair per plug, and they would just be way too thick. This time I think I actually got it. I think it looks a lot more like the original. It's not as bushy. I was making some bushy eyelashes on some of my dolls. Well, two of my dolls. But yeah, there she is. She looks a heck of a lot better, I think. Kind of updated, but still. Alright, there she is with her brand new hair and her brand new eyelashes. They are pretty authentic looking, I think. Best job I've done so far, keeping them more original. And there's the original eyelashes, which we've already talked about. And yeah, I think they did an okay job this time. So this doll, I rerooted her eyelashes and her hair with Saran Hair. This hair type is very difficult. It's easy to work with, but it's very springy and it's hard to it's hard to style. You really have to. I had to wet her hair with hot water multiple times and let it dry, air dry, um, keeping it tied down because this hair always wants to spring up. It's a very springy hair, and I find that really annoying. But it looks amazing. And once you get the shape you want, it holds its shape really well. She is on the original her body, that my living Barbie, and I decided my living Barbie needed a better body, so she's on a made to move body now. And I gave this new head her. I gave her the old living Barbie, which has bendable legs, swivel hip, bendable arms, and even a little wrist movement. Pretty cool doll for back in the day, but this one is pretty limp and she's seen better days. She needs a new body. But anyways, that is that. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.